Have I done this correct? It's waiting. Junior, looking sharp, fella. Looking sharp.
Yeah.
Is that a Versace robe you're wearing?
It is a Versace robe indeed, yes.
I'm a bit underdressed. I was trying to look a bit trendy for you tonight, but you know, you done me. You done me. The man is joining us in his Versace robe. This is sensational.
You want to see something?
Looking sharp. Look at this. The champ. It's a personalized one as well. The champ is in the house.
Personalized from Versace.
This is it. This is it. How are you, brother?
I'm doing very well, man. I'm doing very well. Sorry I'm late.
No problem. No problem. I've been enjoying bantering with my hooligan followers on here. Listen, Chris, first of all, I've got to ask you this, and no one's going to believe that I don't know. Where are you? Tell us where you are. Chris is not only one of the best boxers on the planet, he is the international man of mystery. Tell us, Chris, where are you? Dan Bilzerian's house, or where are you today? Because
I was there a few days ago, but I left.
I saw.
And I'm now back in Pensacola, Florida with Roy, training, trying to get back onto my right sleeping schedule. That's why I'm in the robe. I pretty much just woke up.
Brilliant. Brilliant. You know what Marvin Hagler said? He said it's difficult to go standing up for that 5 a.m. road run in your silk pajamas. He never mentioned Versace pajamas, yeah? He never mentioned the Versace pajamas. So I think we're doing okay. No, I mean, joking aside, I just remember our time with the WBSS. I've never worked with a harder training fighter than yourself. Now, I've got to ask you this. You have a lifestyle, when you look at it on Instagram, and there is a very big other side that obviously you don't show the world, but you see with, you know, Dan Bilzerian, New Year's Eve. I mean, listen, that not is only my dream, but it's 99% of fellas' dreams around the world. But you're probably in the gym the next morning again. How do you balance that up? I mean, I know you don't drink, you don't do anything silly. You go out and enjoy the high life. But there is such a serious side to you as well, which, I think that, joking aside now with hanging out with Dan, which I can't remember. I don't know if you read it. It's in the contract that next year I have to come with you. But how do you balance it up, Chris? How do you always maintain this supersonic shape?
I'm actually the only man in the game that loses weight when he's on holiday. When I got back from Las Vegas the other day, and I was 167 pounds, that's close to fight weight. I was more than that. When I was training, it's just it's one of those things. Discipline, routine when it comes to living the life. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. Of course, I have fun. I go out. I'll party a little bit, but that's all. It's in moderation. Most of the time, I'm in the gym. I'm training. 2020 was a very active year for me in terms of boxing, just through the fact that I was non-stop in the gym with Roy.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the ring, I didn't box, but sparring, training, learning each and every day for pretty much a year straight. So then at the end of the year for Christmas and New Year's, I took a couple weeks off, went to New York, then went to Vegas. And you need that. You need to reset. I'd done a lot of training over 2020, and I just thought, well, take a couple weeks off, come back early January, get back in the gym, and then hopefully get back in the ring March.
Yeah.
Back in Florida now, back with Roy. No more late nights, no more partying with Dan Bilzerian and Steve Elby.
Yeah.
Until after my next after my next big win, which will hopefully get me as soon as possible, because
it's 3 times this year, you know, Chris. It's soon. I think it's more April than March, but the first one. But it is 3 times this year. You're going to be out 3 times this year. We got some catching up to do. You know, COVID, I know, screwed up a big part of what you planned for last year, but there ain't no stopping us now. And just tell me a little bit about Roy, because we haven't actually talked about it. I mean, obviously, you know, one of my favourite all-time fighters. What's he like? And I've met Roy over in Russia. I've met him a couple of times in the States. He was over in Russia a long time, actually, with a good friend of mine in Russia, just outside Moscow, he was based. And he's an amazing, sort of has amazing aura about him, which you would expect someone to have that much success. What's he like in the gym?
You know, I was shocked. COVID hit, and I was in a position where I didn't really know what to do. Last year, February, you know, all the gyms closed. Floyd's gym closed, which is obviously where I'm based at when I'm in America, or where I was based. Everything closed down, and I was like, "What do I go back to England? Do I stay in Vegas and wait it out and see what happens? You know, hopefully things will open back up in a week or a couple of weeks." Like, obviously, nobody knew what was going to happen. And then I remembered that I'd met Roy a week before at a fight show in Sam's Town in Las Vegas, and that's where we spoke for a little bit, and that's where I learned that he had a gym, a private gym at his farm in Pensacola. So the light bulb just went off. I was like, well, you know, I'd never really thought to go and train with him, but now I was in this position where, like, there was no other gyms. You know, maybe I could go train with Roy Jones. I mean, it can't hurt to ask. So I got on the phone with my dad and I said, listen, you know, everything's shut down now in Vegas. You can call Roy and see if you train.
Have a word.
Yeah, talk to him. Just see if I can come down there for a bit and see what happens. And a couple hours later, he hit me back. Yeah, Roy said come down. So I was on a flight the next day, and yeah, I've been in Pensacola for the last year. It's just crazy how things work, you know. And I wasn't expecting much, to be honest. I thought I'd go in there, you know, he'd probably be in the gym, you know, once every couple of days, you know, and just, you know, throw your jab and, you know, use your speed. And I didn't really think there was going to be, because you always, you know, great fighters usually don't make great trainers. That's the thing of it. So I wasn't expecting a huge amount, but from day one, from that day I walked into that gym, he was on me, you know, on me hard every moment of the day, every moment of the gym sessions, teaching me, watching me. I was just blown away. I was like, wow, this is where I need to be. This is the guy that I need to stay around for the rest of my career, because he is, not only is he one of the best fighters in the world, but he really is one of the best trainers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You know, everything happens for a reason.
Being around the sport at such a high level for such a long period of time as well, you know, such a long period of time. So it's the takeover team. It's the takeover team. That's good. And talking about takeover, let's go for a couple of questions we got in, and we got a lot of questions this afternoon through already. We'll go for some on here as well. But let's start with one that we got, which is sort of leads us nicely into the general topic. We're talking about team takeover and 3 times this year, etc. Spencer Theron, my old mate Spencer Theron, he said, top 5 hit list of who you want to fight.
Top 5, okay.
I don't know if this is any particular order, but you fire ahead and then we can rank them.
3 for right now, and that Canelo Alvarez is number 1. By
the way, what you make of him fighting Yildirim, a former victim of yours?
I mean, you know, what can you say, man? I mean, you know, it's.
I think it's good that a pound for pound number 1, so to speak, is so active. but the fight itself, it's ordered. Ordered is ordered. Yeah. I didn't actually see the Yildirim Durrell fight. I don't know if he learned out of the fight with you. So I'll give him, nice kid. I'll give him his fair dues. If he, you know, it's a business, as we all know. But I mean, yeah,
it's a great opportunity for him. You know, Canelo is in a position where he can do what he wants. And to be fair to the guy, he has earned that. Should he be fighting, you know, the elite every single time? He probably should, yeah. And I wouldn't consider Avni the elite, but he's mandatory, and Canelo he's earned the right to do what he wants, and if he wants to fight him, then we can't really say anything different.
Yeah,
it's a fight that everyone want to watch, but you know, it is what it is.
Okay, but back to you anyway. That was just a side note. So Canelo,
GGG number 2.
Number 2.
He's been on my radar for years. He has a middleweight title. He's still looking sharp. He's still looking dangerous. He's still the guy to beat in the middleweight division.
Yeah.
Number 2 and number 3.
Just by the way, Chris, you say that you mentioned him. I don't know if you saw this, but before his last fight, he called you out. Yeah. So it's also you're on his radar.
I didn't.
No, he did. He did. He mentioned you and another name for 2021. I picked up on it. I've got very big ears. You see, and they only get bigger with age. They're absolutely massive, but they're good at picking these things up. So no, he definitely was you. He called up before or after the fight in December, and 100%. So that's happening this year. That is happening this year. Be sure of it.
Got to.
Already talking.
Good. Number 3 is the fight that makes, the most sense, really, is Ryota Murata, because he is, WBA super middleweight, super middleweight world champion. Not super middle, but super middle. Yeah.
No, he's the super middleweight super champ. Yeah, we're with you. We're with you.
And WBA interim world champion, so I'm number 1 contender for that belt. So that fight makes a lot of sense. That's a fight I know I can win. So hopefully we can get that done, because like I said, it's belt collecting season. I want these belts. I want these fights. I don't know what's going on with the WBA regular world title. I don't know if that's something I would be ordered to fight for because I'm WBA interim. I don't know how it all works, or if I can just go straight for the super. You would know that.
I think if it makes dollars, it makes sense, Chris. That's always my saying. If it makes dollars, it makes sense. And but the Murata fight, definitely been in touch with them as well. They were on to us. Definitely one for this year as well. I mean, you said 3. I think that there's a couple of sort of off spin ones. I put Kell Brook out there. I thought that was an interesting UK one. I can see you smirking. And Liam Williams, but I mean, Liam Williams has his fight with Andrade, and then we can talk afterwards. But what do you think about Kell Brook?
Well, so you got those 2 names.
Creative matchmaking there. That's what I call it. Creative matchmaking.
Done it. You're the promoter, and you've brought two fights up, and now everyone's talking about them. It's a fun fight. It's a fun fight with Kel. We've had our back and forths over the years. I'm sure it's a fight a lot of people in Britain would love to see. So if you want to throw him in there with me, then I'm not going to say no.
I mean, it's just in terms of being a big UK name. The other one I know that's been talked about a lot is Liam Williams, and I think he's a great up and coming fighter, but he's got that world title fight coming up. So I've reached out for or they reached out for me, and I reached out back. I never heard back from this promoter. So, but that's one that we'll keep talking. But I think they have a fight with Andrade first. So that's
I think what he's saying, from what I'm hearing, you know, I'm the guy he wants. So he, you know, I mean, if he's a man of his word, if the things that he's talking about are true, then, you know, he'd take the fight with me before he took the fight with Andrade.
yeah,
It's probably a bigger money fight for him.
yeah.
So,
Money wise for sure. Money wise for sure. You know,
but
negotiation wise, I'd have to say he'd be advised to do the Andrade fight first, for his point of view.
I mean, I think that would make off it, because I don't see him winning that. So I think that would kind of that would ruin the hype of.
Okay. That's another thing. That's another thing. I'm putting myself in their camp's shoes, and they believe they beat Andrade. They're much cleverer if they beat Andrade and then negotiate with us.
I mean, if they believe that.
You remember your last victory in the UK was against James DeGale. You wiped out James DeGale, you know, who was a household pay-per-view name. That was your. I mean, obviously, last year was a COVID year and everything, but that was the last fight. So you're coming off that pedestal, you know. You know, you've had some great wins over here, but at the same time, commercially, you're in another league at the moment. So you need to, as someone who's coming through, my advice would be take that world title fight, get something, and then you get a bigger chunk of the pie. If you want to make the fight now, it's certainly not 50-50 like I saw Frank was saying. You know, so you know that's just the promoter talking. You know, but you know I think there's a load of great fights. And I think, you know, Kell Brook, Liam Williams was a great, you know, also big domestic fights. You know, and you know that's all great too. But I think the one big one on the for me this year is definitely Triple G, and that's one that has to get made. You know, that has to get made. That's the big one. You know, so that was let's skip through some more of these, or else we'll be discussing this all night. Let's have a look what other interesting ones that weren't too rude. Well, here's one from Ollie Mick. What is your diet like? And actually, I'd like to hear this as well. What's your diet like? Have you got? Do you stick to a strict diet? I mean, I see you eating a lot of sushi and things like that on your Instagram, but have you got a strict diet? By the way, I've had fantastic conversations with Senior about dieting, yeah, and I remember sitting there in a meeting, I had a protein shake, I just came from a training session, and your old man looked at me and goes, "What's that?" Like, you know, like he is exactly the, you know, and you looked at your old man's body during his fighting career, always in shape, but he told me the way he trained in diet, I mean, you know, forget it. You know, it was exactly the opposite of what I'm guessing you're about to tell me.
No, I'm not. You know, my metabolism is crazy. So anything I eat or drink, it burns up immediately. I don't put any weight on ever.
Yeah.
Never been the same size for the last 10 years. You know, during a fight camp, when I'm cutting weight, then I wouldn't even say I have a specific diet. I just have, you know, it's about calorie intake. It's about cutting down what you eat and not eating, you know, sweets and sugar and bread too much. But even then, I can still get away with eating, you know, carbs and, you know, a little dessert here and there. It doesn't really do anything to me. I just have to, you know, make the portion smaller as I get closer to outside of that, I just try and eat good food. There's no, you know, I eat red meat, I eat pork every now and again. You know, I'm always trying to eat vegetables. You know, I'll have chocolate, I'll have, you know, a sweet drink. You know, I don't I'm not one of those guys that's just like, right, this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
no,
Okay.
it's not like
Okay.
blessed with the metabolism to be able to handle that.
Okay.
Good food, cooked, restaurants or good cooked meals. I don't eat a lot of fast food. I don't eat a lot of like sweets and candy. But yeah, just you got to be responsible. You got to know your own body. That's
Okay. That's a good answer. Duran, Hearns, or Hagler by Lars.
Duran, Hines, or Hagler. Where the hell is Leonard? How's this guy?
I was sort of thinking that as well. Although I'm a Hagler man, I've got to confess I am a proper Hagler.
I mean, listen, they're all greats, but in my opinion, Leonard was the greatest of the greats.
Was the slickest. Was the
Slick,
slickest. I still think Hagler won, but that's my personal opinion.
If you're going to say, do you want to watch a Hagler fight or a Leonard Sugar Ray Leonard fight, I'm going to always watch Leonard just because of his style. Is just how he.
With one exception. Hagler Hearns, you can't. I mean, Hagler Hearns is for me. Number one.
That was a massive fight. But if you're talking about just solely looking at the styles,
yeah.
I'm a Sugar Ray Leonard man. Just I love the speed. I love the punch output. That's all me. You know me.
Yeah.
Left, right, and center for 12 rounds, and that's what he did. Hagler's just more, come forward, bobbing.
Yeah. And Triple G is often referred to as a Hagler. So we could be seeing this year the modern day Leonard Hagler. That's what I'm saying, people. That's what I'm saying. Will Roy Jones be in your corner in the next fight? Sean Ryan, we've just said that already.
Yes, my corner for the rest of my career, in my opinion.
Just a second. Would you ever go on celebrity? In which celebrity? I'm assuming it means celebrity. Get me out of here. The jungle thing.
Could be brother. Be dancing on ice. There's a couple.
Yeah, but I think it's nice. I'm a celebrity, so I think it means that the jungle one. Which celebs would he want to go on with him? Oh, I'd have a few ideas there, but for myself that is. But would you tell me what would you go on one? And if you did, give us 2 or 3.
I know I've been asked to go on these shows for years now, and I've always turned them down. Just those are not shows that you do in the prime of your career. Not taking anything away from them. They are great shows, very entertaining, and at some day in my life, I may turn around and say, yeah, I love a little bit of the jungle or Big Brother or whatever it is. But for right now, it's just not in my mindset. I'm a boxer, I'm a fighter. That's all I want to do. I don't want to be known for going on TV and eating sheep's bollocks and
That's the part that gets me every time.
Yeah, it's too much for me right now.
Yeah. Right, my favorite one, this is from Stephen Smith. This is my favorite one, but I wasn't sure if it's for you or for me, but we'll ask it. Will you be the guy to shut Jake Paul up? I'd be very happy to, people. I'm in full training, and I reckon I'd do it easy. But anyway, I'm gonna pass it over to you, Chris. Will you be the guy to shut him up?
Someone actually, a friend of his actually said that he'd be up for coming and sparring with me at one.
I'd love to see that. I'd pay to see that.
Because he's been going around Vegas and he's been sparring with some of these pros and stuff like that. And apparently he's been doing all right, which just blows my mind.
Nah, I'd love to see a video of that. Yeah. If he pays them and straps their hands behind them with one arm. Yeah, one arm.
People always ask me, what do you think about these YouTubers and these non-boxers fighting? And to be honest, they're bringing a whole new audience. They're bringing a whole new platform to the game. So in that sense, it's not a bad thing because, all these kids on YouTube and all these people that never would have watched boxing, now they're, you know, they're watching these guys fight, and then they're probably thinking, all right, well, you know, who are the other boxers? Who are the other guys doing this? And then so it kind of trickles over. So in that sense, it's probably an all right thing. But you know, calling themselves pros, that's a different thing. I don't know.
No, it's embarrassing, Chris. I'm all for YouTubers or celebrity, whatever, fighting each other. Brings eyeballs to our sport. In case of YouTubers, it brings young people to our sport as well. Very important. Very important. If it's going to be done by YouTubers fighting YouTubers, I'm okay with that. I paid a tenner and stood up at 5 a.m. with my lad to watch KSI beat up one of the Pauls. You know, actually, I would have paid 100 quid if I knew he beat up one of the Pauls now, after I know what the Pauls are like. So well done, KSI, and that's all good. But I think it's you know, and then they start, you know, the whole Mayweather thing. I mean, it's like I remember training. I boxed when I was from 11 to about 19. Always, you know. All Stars, Harrow Road, things like that, and so I was shit. I was terrible, but I really enjoyed it. You know, just sparring But I remember getting in the ring with my old coach, who was a guy called Clay O'Shea. He was a British level pro, quit early, and was very nothing special pro. And I trained for a few years, and I remember the first time we sparred proper, I couldn't get near him. You know, it was like, and this was after a few years. Now, okay, they brought in, you know, Shannon Briggs and God knows who else to train him. Listen, I know Shannon. And so, but you don't learn boxing in 3 months that you think you're going to get near a pro. Now, but you're not talking about like my guy who was a British level pro, Clay O'Shea. You are talking about arguably, no, definitely the best defensive boxer of all time, and arguably the best boxer of all time, certainly when you look at his record. And you're telling me as a YouTuber, you are not going to you wouldn't be able to lay one lace on him, not one lace. And if he wants to, he will take your head off. That's why but anyway, let's not get. I'm answering these questions are for you, so I'm getting too involved here.
We know, as people that are involved in the sport directly, we know that, but there's actually millions of people that don't know that. They think, oh well, Logan Paul is 50 pounds heavier, he's big, he's got muscles. Floyd's small, he's old, he's retired.
Yeah,
he could win.
Beat him with 80 in a wheelchair, rolling. Walking stick, Zimmer frame, he'd still beat him. I mean, it's like tennis. I don't know if you stand ever in a tennis court and you take a serve and you see a professional tennis player serve, you don't see that ball. If you take, I'm not very good at cricket, but like when I was growing up, it was Curtly Ambrose, the big West Indian. If he throws a ball at you, so you're standing there with a cricket bat, and you've done it for 3 months, you don't see that ball. And if you do see the ball, it's because it's just gone into your eye socket. So you know, these are levels. And boxing, the difference with tennis is, yeah, okay, you missed the ball. You know, worst case, it hits you in the nuts. You know, but in boxing, it's a bit of difference. You know, the fist is actually coming for your face, and that's why it's a bizarre one, but. Yeah, but I'll take YouTubers fighting YouTubers because, as I said, I think it attracts attention. Right, couple more. Which was your most memorable pro fight and why?
Well, the most satisfying pro fight would have to be the DeGale win, just because of the beef and the build up. It just, you know, it was just years and years of back and forth and trash talk, and you know, I'm going to knock you out, and I beat you up in sparring, and the interviews, and you know, seeing him at shows, and you know, securities bump heads, and it's just, yeah, that was probably And I always knew I could beat him, and everyone wrote me off. You know, oh, he's just going to outbox you, he's going to bat you, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. So to finally get in the ring with him and do what I did to him, yeah, that was definitely the most satisfying win of my career, for sure.
Okay. You just mentioned it in talking about sparring and things. What was your toughest spar ever? Not too many details, because we never talk about sparring, but what would you say was your toughest spar? Maybe as a young guy, or...
My toughest spar was when I went out to Cuba. So the first day of sparring out there, I got in there with, you know, middleweight, and they do this thing out there called technical sparring, which I had never done before. You know,
explain to us what is technical. I've never heard of that. What is technical sparring? And
I've actually started doing this from time to time now. More recently at the end of my career, or towards the end of my career. But yeah, so technical sparring is kind of, you're not looking to really hurt the guy. You're just working on things, whether it's, you know, you're working a certain punch or head movement or the jab. You know, you're not going out. It's not like an all-out fight. You're not really trying to hurt the guy. You're just working with somebody. I'd never done that before. But the Cubans are big on that. I didn't realize they spoke to me in Spanish, and they said, you're going to spar with this guy, but they were saying all this stuff, and I thought it was just going to be a proper spar. So I got in there, and I hurt this kid pretty much, and I think he was one of the Olympians at middleweight. So the next day, they put me back in the gym. They said, oh, we got another spar for you. You're going to spar with one of the heavyweights, and this guy was he fought in the 2012 Olympics for Cuba as a heavyweight. You know, where I'm from, when a middleweight spar, and I've sparred heavyweights before, but they've always taken it easy, you know, just because there's such a huge weight and size difference. You know, when it's two guys the same size, you don't have to take it easy. You can do what you want. But when you're sparring a guy that's a lot bigger than you, it's kind of like an unwritten rule. You don't try and bang him out. They were obviously upset with what I had done the day before, so they just basically told this guy, take his head off. And that's what he did. For 3 rounds, he beat the hell out of me for 3 rounds. He knocked me out of the ring. I had to get back climb back into the ring. And I said to myself, right, they told me to do 3 rounds with him, so I'm not getting out of the ring. I'm not quitting. I'm staying in there, and I'm taking it for 3 rounds. And that's what I did. And he beat the shit out of me for 3 rounds. And that was the toughest spar of my career. I was probably like 18, 19. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little bit younger.
So it's sort of like a boxing university.
Yes, but you know, I learned a lot from that.
I mean, Cuba is still, for me. I mean, you got the issue when the pros come over, the discipline goes. You see that with a lot of Cubans, but the amateurs, the Cuban amateurs. I mean, you just got to look in the history books. Yeah.
I'm glad it happened, because you know that for the rest of my career gave me the confidence of, right, well, this Cuban Olympic heavyweight threw everything at me, battered me, but he'd never knocked me out. He hit me with big shots. You know, I get flashes of white, but I was right back there. So if this guy can't knock me out, how's a middleweight going to knock me out? You know, so that knew I could take a shot. I knew, and that made me unfearful of anybody. I was never scared of anybody's power. That's why confident with the Golovkin fight. Everyone talks about how he's, you know, this huge puncher, and he hits like a horse. I don't care.
Yeah. That's the attitude, man. That's it. Okay, listen. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Chris, I'm going to let you get on with your training day. As we prepare for the first one, we'll be announcing in a couple of weeks' time. And looking forward to 2021. Team Takeover.
Big year, Team Takeover. And you line them up, I'll knock them down.
Looking forward to it, my man. All the very best from Lockdown London.
Okay, appreciate it, man.
Take care, man. See you soon. Cheers. Thanks, everyone.